Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight is the first, and video is going live on the 23rd of February. So it is the first night of the 3-day cycle of the full moon. This particular full moon in February is called the snow moon, and generally the month of February, at least in the northern hemisphere-ish area, has the highest amount of snowfall of any other month of the year. Is that always the case? No, but that is the general rule there. And some years you just don't get snow at all, and that's kind of how this year's been around where I'm at. We've got a little bit, but not a lot, and most of it came in January. So the name is a historical name. It can also be called the Hungry Moon, the Storm Moon, which I thought was interesting, the Candles Moon, still not bright, still use a lot of candles, the Bear Moon. This is generally the time where your hibernating bears will birth their babies. And you also have the Bald Eagle Moon, and I couldn't find the exact reason why they call it that. The Goose Moon and the Wolf Moon, because this is also the time when you would start to see geese returning. The Wolf Moon name is a pretty common moon name for the winter months, so generally the Wolf Moon is January, but the February one has on occasion been called the Wolf Moon as well. Other names that have been used over the years are the Groundhog Moon, Groundhog's Day, kind of self-explanatory, or the Bony Moon. The Bony and the Hungry Moon names are going back to Native American cultures, and it was generally a time of scarcity of food and supplies, so you'd end up being a little more bony or a little more hungry. So that's historical. According to some sources, this coming full moon is the opposite of a supermoon. The orbit has the moon full, which is what we're talking about, but it's further away than the normal full moon on an elliptical orbit, because the moon's an elliptic, where an elliptic everything's kind of more elliptic, not circular in our galaxy, our little solar system here. And that makes this the smallest full moon this year. It's called a micromoon, and I learned a new term. It's an apogee moon, which is it's at its farthest point from us. This is the various terms, and I'm not sure if you can see this from the naked eye. When I was looking at the distances, we're talking hundreds of thousands of miles, it didn't look like it was that far out of the norm. I mean, it was farther away, but as far as when you're talking that space, you might notice a difference. It's worth going outside and checking out, but as far as drastic differences, I didn't notice from the mileage aspect of it anyway, any major changes. So there's that. I ran across one thing. I did not dig into it just because we'll talk about some other things with this. This moon holds some importance within the Chinese New Year celebration in our month of February, and so I will be using the Dragon's Path Oracle deck with our reading, because we're still kind of in that Chinese New Year Year of the Dragon thing. So that's about as much of that as I'm going to go into, just because that's adding a whole nother layer of astrology, and I'm still struggling to figure out the Western version, so we'll stick with one thing at a time. In the more metaphysical discussion, we are in a time of resetting our habits and setting new patterns, and this will continue until sometime in March with Saturn. I can't remember if it's going direct or what Saturn's playing around, at which point it's going to stabilize and set the patterns and the habits we've been working on since October. So you still have time to work with those resets, those new patterns. Going along with that particular energy, this moon will be full in Virgo, so lots of planning and things like that, organizing. And the moon is not having a good discussion with everybody, though. She is currently fighting, arguing, if you will, with Mercury and Saturn being opposite the sun is the full moon part period. So that's just a standard thing with full moons. But the moon is arguing with Mercury and Saturn. So this is a time for serious discussions, deep thoughts, really getting below the surface level, finding out the core, the roots, all kind of ties into that transition period with Saturn we're talking about. And I will say this is not going to be an easy time period. This is not something to be worried about, just heads up. The sun is in Pisces, bringing Mercury and Saturn along for the ride. So there's a little bit of chaos from what I can see coming up here, but it's not going to be more than you can handle. It's just going to be like, ugh, here we go again, and then it's going to settle down. This energy can be sad or possibly worrisome. Like I said, there's a little bit of cat fighting going on. This can lead to fear, tension, and some polarizing disagreements. You may also feel very emotionally sensitive during this full moon, more so than normal because of the arguments that are going on in the stars. This is a time to not take things personal. Don't be reactionary if you can help it. According to some astrologers, though, this is going to be a short-term thing, and the energy will settle down by the end of the month, which is great, but this weekend in particular, batten down the hatches and stay home. And I'm being facetious, obviously, but just be aware that the energy, because we're 70% water in this meat suit, and the moon affects water very heavily, so when the moon's having an argument, it tends to manifest down here as well. So just be a bit more aware of what people are saying and how they're saying it, and even if it's a little bit more bitey than normal, don't take it personal. That's the big one here. The after effect of this full moon, which not all full moons have a broad ranging, a lot of times it's a day or two. This one is going to have about a 2-week window after the fact. They say it will bring your hearth and home into very sharp focus. This will bring you into an awareness of what's working, what isn't working, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be thrown out. This is things to think about during this time. Is work taking up too much of your time? Are you living to work? In which case, is there a balance you can address? Are things being ignored at home? This is a time to examine the balance in your life and make those corrections accordingly. This is why the stress and drama is going to be a little bit higher. Other things to look at are the spending situations. Do I have like 15 streaming services and only use 2? Cancel the rest of them. If there's things going on like, why do I have fill in the blank bill because I don't even use that product, service, or whatever, time to clear it out. These are things to help kind of refocus during this time. And again, we're working in this period of resetting habits and resetting new patterns into our lives. This moon is like, okay, this is your opportunity. Everything's going to stabilize and settle in March. What else needs to be gotten rid of, cleaned up, straightened up, new habit built? This is what they're bringing forward for you, the stars and the planets. So just look, if you have the time or not, make the time to actually kind of go through this. The moon's not going to give you a lot of an option. She's going to be a little intense for the energy period, but that 2 week after is a time to just kind of examine what she's bringing up this weekend. And as with most full moons, your intuition is going to be heightened, more sensitive at this time. This can be used to help deal with relationship drama, other aspects of helping finding your balance, and there's also a little bit of a financial thing going on here. And it's not negative. It's more of looking at what you've got going on right now, spending, saving, a little bit better balance, planning more out for the future. There's a little bit of Jupiter energy coming in saying plan for things down the road that are enjoyable, set yourself up for success, investing properly, things like that. Also, being careful with investment opportunities, making sure that you've actually grounded them. This is not advice by a financial, because I'm not great there. But as far as paying attention to markets, these are the energies that are coming up. Jupiter's like, let's start planning ahead, let's set things up, invest carefully if you choose to invest, but these are things to be paying attention to if you are interested in that line of work. It can help you see with clarity what is going on behind the scenes with all of this sensitivity that you're going to be having. Don't fall into the trap of perfectionism, though. That is one thing. As I was going through this, I'm like, man, this sounds like we're trying to be perfect or something. And then I ran across one astrology website in particular that was like, yeah, great, get everything set up. You're not perfect. Don't plan on it. I was like, I like that. So if you're looking at your life and being honest about the changes and how to improve, you're seeking improvement. You're seeking growth. You're seeking better habits, patterns, and cycles. You're not perfecting anything. So don't set yourself up for disappointment or failure. Work on improving growth, making those next steps, taking those next growth periods in stride, not looking to perfect it and end it all because, well, I got it perfect, I don't have to do it anymore. That's not what you're here for. So keep your changes, your goals, and your focuses realistic within the current bounds. Does that mean you can't grow beyond those bounds? Not in the slightest. Grow beyond wherever you want, but keep your focus within where you can go at this particular moment in time. So this particular lunar cycle, and I thought this was interesting, has a karmic aspect to it. Of course it does. This alignment could bring your karmic lessons into the forefront. It can bring in the karmic struggles to the front. It's time to scribble in your book, this is over, ending this one, I've learned that lesson, I'm closing this chapter. Done. Put it away. So with Jupiter running around helping out in other areas, this could be lessened, really. Instead of being a gigantic kick in the tush, because Saturn is not the most friendly of planets, Jupiter's like, no. Yes, there's some things you're working through, there's some things you're healing, you're fixing, but we're not going to make this a life traumatizing experience. The trauma's already been done. Let's bring this stuff to a close. Have you learned the lesson? Have you understood the process, why this cycle has been going on? Yes? Cool. Check mark, close the book, throw it away. So this is what we're looking for. It's kind of like a happily ever after some chaos. The chaos is settling down. There's some positivity on the horizon. Good fortune with Jupiter running around there, which, like I said, we could all use probably a little bit more of. So overall, this full moon is going to be bringing in a lot of change, a lot of tough questions. You could call it tough love, if you will. But this is something that I think is going to turn out to be a benefit overall, especially when you look at the time period we're in. What they call an eclipse pause right now. There's not been there hasn't been an eclipse in the northern hemisphere since like October or something like that. So we're in this period of quietness. Saturn is giving us a green light to change because the new patterns will be settled and reset, like putting them back into a normal state in March. So we want to make sure we're ready for that, and that's what this full moon is saying. Giving you the opportunity. What else do you need to get settled up, fixed up, and readdressed? This is the time to do it. So let's hop over. Oops, where'd all my I had these all set up and then I moved one thing and that's all it took. So let's hop over and look at a couple of oracle cards for each of the elemental energies, and we'll be using the Moonology. It's the full moon, why not, right? As one of the decks. The other one will be the Dragon's Path Oracle cards. If you're interested, those are linked in the description, and those are links that helps by clicking on the links. It actually helps support the channel. So just a little something there, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's just a matter of clicking through them. Anyway, for fire, we have emotions are running high. Interestingly enough, we are going through a micro moon, but fire is getting the energy of a super moon. So you fire guys and gals are going to be in a very hypersensitive state through this full moon's energy. And with that, it's a good idea to stay grounded. Epsom salt baths, the magnesium salt baths, taking your shoes off. If you like crystals, keeping those around you during this time, especially the soothing ones, obsidian, tourmaline, white quartz, even amethyst. Just staying a bit more grounded, because your sensitivities, your intuition is going to be heightened. We talked about that a little bit with the moon energies, but your Moonology card, your Oracle card, is really saying you've got a lot of things that are going on. Your sensitivities are going to be peaking. Your ability to pick up what other people are thinking, feeling, and projecting is going to be very, very tuned in. So be aware that just because you're feeling a certain thing from somebody, that doesn't mean you have to react to it. So your dragon card is number 10, freedom. The sensitivity, that being feeling all of that energy, can be very freeing, but it can also be a bit of a trap. So work on that freedom aspect of it, because once you understand that person's energy, you can avoid that situation if it's going to be toxic, or you can enhance it if it's something that's beneficial and growth oriented. You have the freedom to choose. Your path ahead of you, fire, especially with this lunar energy coming in, is dealer's choice. What do you want to build? Be more careful, paying attention to what the sensitivities are, examining your life, things like that, really paying attention to those universal signs that are coming in. But you have the freedom to decide what it is you want to keep in your life, what it is you want to let go of, the things that no longer serve. It's okay to say, you know what, I can let you go and I feel no guilt. I release you with no connection. You can work with Archangel Michael to bring in some cord cutting as well, and helping to lessen the possible stress from that transition. So let's hop over to, and fire is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Our next one is Earth, boop, boop, with Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So we'll see what moon phase works best for Earth this particular full moon cycle. And the deck did not want to give you a card, Earth. That was interesting. We have the full moon in Pisces. Okay, well, that's coming up here shortly. Balanced spirituality and practice. Earth, this is a time to tap into your spirit. Get into a meditation practice. They're showing me yoga, which is more of an earth-based one anyway, and starting to really ground your energy into this spiritual practice. And they're balancing spirituality and practicality, like the card says here. That is talking about how can you take your spiritual life and apply it to the mundane. How can you incorporate your spiritual practice into your everyday life? That doesn't mean you have to go beat on people's doors and tell them about the glories of your spiritual practice. There's enough people that do that, and we don't need to add to that mess. But in examples of going through life, when you are sitting down to lunch, even if you're at work, saying a quick prayer, doing a blessing on the food, that is a way to incorporate spirituality. When you are making deals, if you are, in big business, doing so from an ethical and moral standpoint, bringing your practice through the morals, ethics, and manners into your work life, people will notice a difference. And it's a weird thing when they do, because you're not aware that you're even doing it. After a while, you're consciously setting yourself up for success. And as you're doing that, other people start to pay attention. They're like, wait a minute, what are you doing different? Because your whatevers, let's say your clients, they are in a much better place when they're done with a meeting with you than some of the other people here. What are you doing different? That's that honesty, that's that morality, and that's bringing your spirituality into your practical life. And that you can apply that to anywhere. You don't have to make a big scene about everyone hold hands, we're saying prayer over the food. It can be something as simple as just bowing your head, quietly saying a blessing over it, and being done. But those are ways to incorporate your spirituality into your everyday life. And your dragon coming forward is courage. What the moon is asking you to do with the full moon in Pisces requires courage. The dragons that are coming forward are saying, we've got your back. You set the intention and you start to do this. We will support you. We will give you opportunities for this growth. We will give you opportunities for this alignment. Deepening your spirituality, Earth, is not an easy thing to do at times, especially when, as the moon is doing, it's calling you into bringing your spirituality into the practical aspects of life. That's not always the most comfortable thing, and sometimes the ego gets in the way, like, oh, people are going to think you're crazy if you do that. Well, Spirit thinks you're crazy if you don't. So, and personally, I would rather care what Spirit has to say than what Tom, Dick, or Susie has to say that I work with. So, something to think about. Earth. Let's hop over to air. And air is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So all of our air family out there, this one is for y'all. And no, not 6 cards, just one. There we go. And for air, we have the waning moon. Okay. What do you need to release? Well, going through what we were talking about, is there something in your life that is out of balance, air? Is there something in your life that you need to let go of? This full moon's energy is calling you to release that which no longer serves. When I say that which no longer serves, that blouse from 1995 that you have been carrying around in your closet for 3 house moves, through relationship moves, all of that stuff, and one day it might come into fashion. It's not going to. You can get rid of that. Or if you have that stack of books by an author that you've read, you weren't that impressed with, donate them to a local charity. What is it you're needing to release? What is it you're needing to clear? Sometimes, as we talked through the discussion, it could be, I have 15 different streaming services. I don't need all of this. Let's just get rid of the ones that I don't actually use. If I haven't watched anything on it in the last 6 weeks, those all get canceled. So that you're freeing yourself, you're releasing that back, and you're freeing yourself from that attachment. And that's what this waning moon energy is asking you to do, is what is it you are ready to release? What is it that needs to be released? Those are 2 different energies, because it's 2 different facets of life. Your dragon is 28, I believe. I am horrible with Roman numerals. It's Mordwin, and this one is showing some very powerful spiritual energies, what I'm feeling coming forward. You have the Kabbalic Tree of Life, but it's the middle pillar is highlighted specifically. So this is, again, calling you to balance, calling you into that period of spirituality. With this, what I'm feeling, what are you releasing? It's releasing things that are interfering. It's releasing things that are blocking. It is releasing things that are getting in the way of your spiritual journey, your spiritual life. This dragon is calling you the middle pillar in this diagram right here. This middle pillar is the pillar of balance. It is the pillar of connecting to divine. It is the pillar of manifestation. You have to release things off of both of the sides. Oops, too far. To be able to feel that connection better. Now, all 10 spheres, 11 spheres of the Tree of Life are important. They're Sephiroth or Sephiras. They're all important, but the middle pillar is the one that shows you your divine connection, and when you are focusing there, it brings everything else into a balanced state. This dragon is saying, Air, you've been doing really well, but now it's time to release the stuff that you've been thinking about letting go of. Like, maybe, I don't know, I might need it. Sit down, write a list of things. When was the last time you used it? What was the purpose of it? Who gave it to you? And when you're doing that, anything that is coming up that's like, ow, or ooh, check it off, that gets donated. And so you can release a lot of that heavier energy going forward. So let's hop over here to the water family, and the water elemental energy covers Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And Pisces, the sun is in your sign right now, so basically the odds are ever in your favor. But let's take a peek at what the moon has to say for our water friends and family. We have the new moon, which is interesting that we're doing a full moon reading, but the new moon came up, and it is a new start is coming. Pisces, we just entered into the Pisces sun period. This is a really powerful time for transformation. When you have new starts, this is something with where the moon is, the planets that are chattering at each other. This is a time to release, open up, and start something new. You also have Saturn, who is giving humanity the option to change, reset, and build new patterns and new habits. So a new start for the water is saying, right now, you're in the proper place. If there are things in your life, habits, patterns, things that just are not they're not helping you, they're not healthy, let it go. This is the time to start something new. If you've been looking at, well, I want to start that new business, but I want to start this, ask for that promotion, but I want to date that person, but put the buts in the garbage can, throw them out. Because this new moon and everything's going on astrologically is saying, what do you want to do? You have a new beginning that is being offered to you. What is it? And at this point, they're showing multiple pathways. You have I hate not using that term. You have an unlimited access to things moving forward. What is it you're trying to build? What is it you want to develop? What are those hopes and dreams that you keep setting aside? Because water has a bad habit. Their ego gets in the way sometimes, but they have a bad habit of all of them, all three signs, of putting themselves second. They are supporting. Every one of these signs, no matter what they say, are supporting energies. Scorpio tends to be the most aggressive, but in most cases, they're doing aggression to support someone else. So you've got these three very supporting energies. What is it you have been putting off because of something else? Bring that forward and take the time to really focus on it right now, because things could be moving a lot faster than you might be aware of. We have number 22, Serene. You have new energy coming in. That doesn't mean it has to be stressful. That doesn't mean it has to be traumatic. This dragon is coming forward to say, these changes are ones you've been searching for. This new beginning, it's time. These are the things that you've been wanting. These are the things your heart, your soul has been searching for, and now it's time to step forward. Doesn't have to be stressful. It can be, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have to be. The dragons that are coming forward at this time are saying this is a time for peaceful growth. This is a time for things to build. Life's been chaotic the last 4 years specifically. It wasn't doing super great before that, but the last 4 years have been chaos, 100%. And serenity, finding peace within that chaos, finding the new beginning to start over is what's being called forth at this time for water. So hopefully that resonates for ya. With that, I will wrap this video up. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I will see you in the next video. Still have a few more days of February, so I'll still be dropping videos or live streams every single day the rest of this month. And next week, I believe, there will be the monthly readings for March starting to go up, so keep your eye out for those if you're interested. And with that, I will let you guys go. Have a great rest of your week and have a great weekend. Enjoy that full moon. Hopefully you'll get a chance to go out and see her with no cloud cover. But leave any comments, thoughts, or ideas in the comment section down below if you don't mind, and I'll see you later.